Priest knocking on the door to come up and say, I ain't mad at you. And then tell Dad, when we were 12, he sexually molested and abused me. When we were 12, we sexually experimented with stuff. When it got a little out of hand, I always read, oh, this is bad. This isn't good. Okay. So I stopped it, right? Then she went and told Pancha, and Pancha came and read me the riot act and was St. Francis, right? I said, I know it got bad. She started, and it got curious and it got this, and I stopped it because I knew it was wrong, right? And I'm sorry, it won't happen. It's not gonna happen again, right? And you can't sit there and tell, Patrice or Pancha or any of them, you do know we had a virtual presence from the Mormon Church with a bunch of scientific people like neuroscientists, like on the Big Bang Theory, okay, studying our brain activity as if we were rats in a lab, okay? And how do we protect people sexually and protect one another sexually, and who needs, sexual protection because they're going to be abused sexually probably their whole life. Okay. And so it's really hard. And this is hundreds and thousands of years of relativity and evolution. Right? And when you try to sit down and explain it to a neuroscientist, they're telling you what the brain is doing, but they're not looking at the brain activity eternally. Right? And so you have to explain this to people that think they know something, especially truth. Okay. And I sat there, my sister was railing on me and telling me what a lying sack of shit bastard I was, what a selfish, self-righteous, pompous cow I was. And she goes, I live the truth. My goddess will take care of everything. As your goddess never gave you the truth a day in your life, you still think you need money to live here. Okay. You need the truth. The truth is forgive debt and trespass, love on eternal faithful peace. If you can't do that, neuroscientists from the Pentagon are going to have a camera in your bedroom, and it's going to be real hard to navigate through that brain activity, through thousands of years of biology, going, I don't want this to happen to these people, right? It's really difficult. Okay. And so you explain to people, there are tons of girls everywhere we've gone that I could have taken advantage of sexually because they were sexually vulnerable. And I didn't, because I didn't want to use people sexually to build a reputation to have sex with girls that had the ego problem. They wanted to fix me and control me with sex because she's Sunshine from Harlem Nights, right? And so you explain this stuff to people over and over and over again. What's going on in your domicile, why it's going on, why it's still happening. You're just crazy. You need money to live here, and that's the truth. It's here right now, and you got to deal with it. You sound like Jennifer Lopez's mom on Made in Manhattan. Right? Okay. Money's not real. Okay. We had clouds before money. We had trees and grass and beef and chicken and liver and tuna before money. Right? The Egyptians had cats and dogs that kept them safe from fleas and disease before they invented money to trade for the food from people that stole it, right? So when someone is intelligent, when someone is kind and brave and truthful, okay, if you are encouraged by perverts with technology and neuroscience to come and attack him and try to make him look and feel like he's a really bad person and you're a better person than he is, okay, don't be surprised if you keep attacking him, he's going to kick your ass. He's going to do it in a nice way. But if you come up to a good child and you call him a pervert, and you call him a liar, and you tell him you're a pervert and you need to admit it to yourself. Oh, hell no. Okay. I am not a pervert. I am not a liar. Okay. I've never invented equipment to gain access to people's private domiciles and study their sex life like it was a science experiment so I could win a Nobel Prize. Right? Not once ever have I done anything like that or engaged in that kind of activity. Okay? I am not a neuroscientist from Caltech, from Princeton, or from Stanford. Okay? I'm not that kind of person. I do not work for the Pentagon. I do not work for the Mormon Church. I do not work for Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay? I work for the people so we can work to love one another and stop being abused by people that call their selfishness work. Right? I am so sick of you assholes abusing my sister with your bad brain activity, with your technology. And then me, I can't have a coherent conversation with her to try to get her to understand a damn word I'm saying because she has so much brain damage, she doesn't know a black hole, okay, from her bank account. And it's fucking frustrating. I don't get to know my niece Lydia because she looks at me like I'm a goddamn pervert gorilla in a zoo that Stuart keeps sucking his tit on Mad TV. Okay? It's horrible when you are growing up and you're going through puberty with people, okay? And you're doing what kids might incline to do when they're young, right? And then they sit there their whole life and they blame you for their decisions. When you sit there, it was wrong, it shouldn't have happened, I'm sorry, it won't happen, that kind of thing. Okay. And then people know that affected this and that and that. Okay, and the scientists from the military didn't have anything to do with it. Okay? Now, when you are given morals and values by people that don't share those same morals and values and don't believe in and follow those same morals and values, it's really hard to live those morals and values in a house that is being studied by people that think they're the law enforcement of those moral and values, right? It's a horrible way to live. Okay? It's like living under a microscope. Most kids now get it, okay? Because they realize they have such a virtual presence in their life that unless, most of them just provide income to the hospitals, to the psychiatric wards to get, vaccines for pneumonia, shingles, meningitis, habadibus, sabasibus, prenatal to puberty cancer, all that crazy shit that these people do, right? So you don't think parking the cars, bars, and wars and ending all the unnecessary pollution through rational economic activity would save us from a lot of vaccines for having ineffective immune systems through stress and abuse in a toxic environment? Really? Hi, I'm a neuroscientist. I'm not a fucking neuroscientist, nor would I ever want to be a neuroscientist. I would not want to torture animals, cut up and study their brains, shock the brains, put them in certain stimuli, and then give them supplements or drugs to accept that stimuli as reality. Neuroscience sucks. Neuroscientist sucks. Neurosurgery is necessary because of neuroscientists and neuroscience, right? In order to have the job, you need the conditions to keep the job, right? So being intelligent is an all-day job. When selfish and stupid thinks they have the best job in the world. I have the best job in the world. I have the best job in the world. I was blessed to live this life. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Really? You wouldn't stand up for the Lord's Prayer today and never have to be the dumb asshole you were yesterday and today? Wow. Fascinating. Okay? Do you understand? I love my sister. I'm sick of you guys abusing my sister. I'm sick of you guys abusing my family. I'm sick of you guys abusing my father. I am sick of you assholes. Okay? I got so mad, I went to Dad and I said, I would have knocked Ira's teeth out before he went and killed himself in that hotel room. He goes, who's Ira? I was like, we talked about this 3 times. God dang. Okay, never mind. And then I wonder, people have brain injuries and they have brain damage. Okay. And it's hard for them to recall. Hey, is that Arnold Schwarzenegger? Is that Melina? Think she'll go out with me? Screw you, Benny. Right. We're dealing with really bad people. But they're in a small quantity of the population. It's a very small quantity of the population that is abusing everyday people to have them be a reflection of those very selfish, disgusting people. And you can sit and try to have a lucid conversation with most of the people being abused by those people, and they will say it's because of those abusive people and not because of the abusive people I'm like. Right? I'm a good person. I take all my money, do all these good things for people with all my money. Right? You don't have any money, so you can't do any good things for people. I can stand up so they don't have to be abused by money. You're just crazy. Okay. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Right? If I had the words to make a day for you. It's hard. I knew that this week. I was laying down with the thing. I was like, what happened? I was trying to stay in here because of the food poisoning of eating the leftovers that made me sick all night. And I was just trying to dig the out, but she had chores and things that she had for me to do. She had stuff she needed me to do. Here's what I want you to do, need you to do. She comes over here, Earl, you got to do this. Earl, I want you to do this. Earl, this, right? Yeah. And then she wants me to listen to her talk, but she doesn't want me to talk, just like the rest of my family. Okay. I want you to listen to me talk and what I want to talk about. Okay. But I don't want you to talk at all. Unless, of course, you agree with everything I say. And that's our relationship. Right. And you call that freedom. Right. You call that truth. Right. You call that love. Right. And kindness. And caring. And empathy and respect. Right. You need to quit saying to things that's inflammatory to people because of what they believe in. Okay, you believe money's real and we need money to fuck. Stop saying fuck. We don't need money for food. Okay, we had food before money. Okay, I think fuck was invented because we invented money. I think the word fuck comes from prostitution. That's what I think, vulgar intercourse, right? I think before that it was ooga, ooga shaka, ooga shaka, ooga shaka. I can't stop this feeling. BJ Thomas is better. But that's my opinion. That's an opinion. She keeps telling me, it's opinion. And everybody does that. I can't stand that. You have the right to speak your mind, and it's the same with me. You have the right to your opinion, I have the right to mine. Yeah, you like cigarettes, and you like beer. I don't. Those are our opinions. Truth, life's eternal, the essence is infinite. We don't need to pay money for cigarettes and or beer to do time till we die on planet Earth. I just want to die. I know you just want to die. Okay? Because your life sucks. You know? And I'm like, Patrice, I don't want to be murdered by people that cause life to suck because they want to replace creation with their invention and tell me it's based on opinion. And I keep telling her, that technology, and so how you worry about the technology. I'm not worried about the technology. I'm not worried about the technology at all. But I do not let the technology tell me what to do, what to think, how to think. You know, vote for this candidate. They will give you the money you deserve. Okay? Call this lawyer. They'll get you the money you deserve. Stand up for Jesus Christ. You'll get the love you deserve. And you're just doing that. I'm not doing that to kiss dad's ass. I'm doing it because it's the truth. Okay? Kiss dad's ass, I would be like, okay, I'm going to try to wait to get all of dad's money so I have more money after he's no longer here with money. And that's insane. My dad is not money. My dad's my dad. My mom's not money. My mom's my mom. Okay? Without my mom and without my dad, I wouldn't have to tolerate being abused by assholes over money. Okay? That doesn't make me hate my mom and dad. Why did you have children? Why did you give birth to me so I have to live with these assholes who say their invention is greater than the truth of creation? I don't blame my parents for trying to love one another and love their kids, surrounded by a bunch of assholes that say invention trumps creation. And when I said trumps, she goes, no, that jerk. I wasn't talking about the idiot that you voted for president. I was talking about the word trumps. Okay. I didn't vote for him. Yes, you did. You participated in the contest. That's your president. This is your American Idol. There you go. But I voted for the other person. Yeah, but everybody else voted for the other person, and that's your American Idol. Did you participate in the contest? Okay, so if you don't participate in the contest, that's their American Idol, but not yours. So who righteously cares who wins the singing contest for money? Because Jesus is right and they're wrong, right? Right? And I keep telling people this. This technology is very serious. And the correction of this technology goes through the house of Ralph and Mary. You're just making that shit up. You're crazy as hell. Okay. It's hard. It's my own sister, okay? But I know, because my mom told me we don't have the same biological father, okay? And Ira would have drove me crazy, okay? You know, he probably would have ended up, Trace, you killed my dad. No, your dad killed himself. Because he came drunk. He came home drunk and stupid one too many times. And I told him I ain't going to take it no more. Because remember Frank with my dad? Hit my mom one more time with that kitchen knife. And that apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? Only everybody's terrified of me. I was talking, she said, you talk that way around black people, they'd kick your ass. I would not like to see them try. I would not like to see them try. I love people. I can't stand violence. Like my dad told me all the time when I was a kid, Earl, why? Fighting's ignorant and fighting is an intelligent man's last resort. So When you're fighting, you've stooped to ignorance, right? And if people are impressed by the way you fight, you're impressing the ignorant. Oh my God, how is that possible, right? I'm gonna bet lots of money that this white boy will kick that big black man's ass. White boy, I'm 60 years old. Remember that kid at New Mexico State University? You told me my whole career was rigged by the house in Las Vegas? I'm like, yeah. You crazy old fucking man. I ain't trying to hear this. He just, just stop, look, listen. He's, you dumb crazy. I'll knock you full out. I was like, in dream. Okay, I just kept walking. I was like, you cannot knock me out. I'm not just going to stand there and say, please, you big ignorant dumb shit who thinks money's real. Please knock me unconscious. I would appreciate that. Then I won't have to think about you talking and thinking. Nah, I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna stand still and I ain't gonna let you hit me. Right? But I can't do anything about your pervert scientist in the military poisoning me because of linguistics through your lawmakers, right? So, you guys are terrible. Guys, this bullshit that you do to torture people to make their lives uncomfortable because you find it mildly entertaining, or you're trying to get the technology to work in the way that you work because you are superior to these other people. Okay, you're not superior to my sister. Okay? Patrice was conceived by two people that were trying to survive hell, and they've been living in hell ever since. Okay. I told her, I love Patrice. Do I like and or trust her? Oh, hell no. You can't like her for long because you can't trust her because she goes off on you. And if you don't agree with everything you say, you're an asshole. You're a bigoted, self-righteous asshole who believes in the Bible and believes Jesus is God, and my goddess will take care of all those people and kill them all. It's like, you sound like fucking goddamn Watkins with the whole thing. And the world will tilt its asses and then you're going to take over the world. If the world tilts its asses, we all die and you're one of us. Or will one by one, all the stars will all go out and you and Trina and the rest of the 75 girls you want to have sex with will simply fly away. Beautiful dreamer, awaken to me, right? Do you understand the type of people we are living with in a virtual presence in our house through lawmaker contracts that we accept as reality? Okay, do you understand us? You understand the assholes that you give your freedom to? Left, right, up the middle, and around the way. Right? You're given a life by the glory of God. You're not given a life by the inventions they make, they say the lawmakers make to extort the world, abuse one another by extorting the world. Okay? This is not an exploitation, extortion playground. If you do that, you put everything necessary for faithful love and holy covenants at risk. Every time you get in a plane and you go to a concert to raise money for people to pay extortion to live here, you deny the Messiah, me, and you accept the liar, the devil and Satan and you. Okay. Every time you go support your country's team for philanthropy, you cause birth defects, cancer, diabetes, you name it, they got it. The drug sales of it, wrapped in plastic, breathing the carbon emission poisoning, giving you the drugs to make you comfortable when you die at the hospice with the very kind staff that cares about you and makes your last days beautiful. All right? There's nothing beautiful about, but you give them morphine and people saving money on your demise because they don't want to pay money for you to live. There's nothing beautiful about what happened to my mother. Okay? Nothing at all when it comes to her government and her lawmakers. Okay? But as far as her kids that loved her, and my sister, my sister made my mom miserable. She was selfish. She only thought of herself, and she was mean and she was abusive. If she didn't get her way, she was, And I always, wanted to, I still, you can't talk about it. I liked Patrick Holland. Patrick Holland was an abused kid that knew he had it bad and knew Patrice had it way better than she thought she ever did. He said that. He goes, your dad is this and that, but at least he has morals and he tries to do good and he shows up and he takes care of his family and he tries his best. Okay? They don't abuse people. They don't rip off people. They don't take advantage of people. And if people come to abuse, rip off, and take advantage of people, they just bought a knife to a gunfight. Right? That's what Pat said about me, and when he told it to Danny Holland. You can't fuck with this guy. He's going to, yeah. And Danny thought, no, he'll kick your ass. He's a skinny guy. He ain't afraid of you. And I'd be red betting dimes of donuts. He wiped the floor off your ass. Danny Holland was in foster care, and he was psychotic, and he was nuts. They used to sit with Patrice, and they'd watch Faces of Death and get high on mushrooms all fucking weekend just to try to read about it. And Pat wanted to get away from that shit. And he said, it's so much better at your house. They don't have to get high or drunk to try to get away from life because all the people around them are crazy and psychotic. It's better living at your place. That's why I got so mad at Mom. I was like, why didn't somebody say something to me? I would have given up my bedroom to Patrice and Pat. I would have stayed in Patrice's room. We would have got Pat into tech school to work on cars and motorcycles like he likes. And then, by that time, they'd be old enough. You could sign off a thing, and him and Therese could get an apartment, or they could help pay rent here for you, Mom. And then I'll go to college, and depends on what you want. Mom liked that. He knew his life was self-destructive, and he wanted to slow it down, but he felt like it was out of control. And Therese was out of control, and he said, you don't have to be. It's not as bad as you think it is. No, selfish people will use. Okay, Stephanie used to do this to me. Okay, I did this for you when we first met. She pulled a thorn out of my paw in 1990, right? And she expected me to pay for it for 30 years. Okay, I want you to go kill the neighbors because they looked at me cross-eyed. I want you to validate my feelings. Okay, I validate the fact that you have feelings, but I can also validate the fact that they are insane, and I'm not going to do that. No, that's literally what Steffi was. So I want to put her through PTSD. She's ready to kill him. I'm like, you can't do that. And you can't expect me to want to kill them too. I understand the situation is bringing back things that happened to you in your childhood, right? But the thing about it is when they sit there and say that, no, you did not have as bad of a childhood as you say you had. You're just doing that to get attention from others because you're selfish and self-destructive. It has nothing to do with the people that cared for you and took care of you. I told you, I used to sit there in that house all the time. I thought she'd go off for 2 weeks, partying, drinking, doing drugs on a rampage. Right? And I would think, she's dead. She's got to be dead. Dad's scary. She's gonna kill you. He will kill you. Just kidding, but like she got to be dead this time. She come back. Like that's why Mom. This time the girl is going to stay. She had you thinking, okay, this time she's dead. She would go do whatever from the time she was 14 years old. She'd get up and leave and do anything she wanted to do. Val did the same thing. Ponch used to do the same thing. And Teresa's over there. That didn't happen. She lived with Tommy. Yes, she moved out of the house and she went to live with Tommy. I understand she had a difficult situation. We were dealing with difficult stuff. I get that. Okay. But I'm telling you, most of that difficult stuff was caused by the virtual presence of corporations in the house that were jealous of that couple. It all revolves around you. Yes, it does. Okay, it does. My life story is in the book of Revelation. We had more corporations with a virtual presence in our house than any other family in the history of the world. And we did a pretty damn good job getting through it. Okay. Without being completely psychotic, insane, and just self-destructive. The one who had the hardest time with it was the littlest, was Patrice. Because she didn't have the same biological father. Linda saw my mom as the more correct parent, my dad as the more correct parent. Okay, he was attractive, he was charming, he had good values. Okay, and he wasn't her dad, but he took care of her because Steve didn't, because Steve obviously thought that Mom screwed around and it wasn't his kid. Right? And so, yeah, it was tough. Well, my mom would. If you abuse her and you try to beat her, she'll go be with someone else. My mom's like that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Okay. If a man beats you up when you get out of the shower because he accused you of cheating and stuff like that, you get up and you try to leave. Okay. Anybody in their right mind would do that. Right? My mom didn't tell these stories to Patrice or anything. She told them to me. Well, because she could trust me. I was her confidant. I would, and she didn't want me to grow up to be like those men. She'd always tell me that. Don't be like them. They always do this. They do that. They when you come out of the shower, they wait till you're vulnerable. They hit you. Oh yeah, trust me. I had wives that did that to me. What the fuck? And then try to make it look like you attack them because you're naked, right? And you're like, son of a bitch. That's devious. It's diabolical. Yes, it is. And it happens even in family. But the thing about it is if I'm the guy who's like King David, and this is affecting the brain activity and the relativity in my existence, why do you think we have cops, Dateline, 2020? What would you do? So on, so on, so forth. CSAN, CNN, Bloomberg Networks, NASA Channel, yada yada, dee-da da, booda baga, booga baga. So what happens? The highest of the high, the lowest of the low is the highest of the high, right? What happens to the best of us affects the rest of us, right? And when there's a kid that's going to be born that will give everybody the truth of the Lord's Prayer instead of home invasion through lawmakers with money, you'll do anything you can to keep that shake your money maker, shake your money maker. I just want one more day where I'm in a city that never sleeps and wake up and find I'm number one, top of the heap, number one. These little town blues are drifting away, right? So you got to understand, egomaniacs that build monuments to their insanity expect us all to share the same insanity and want to be a part of the next monument, right? Oh, shit. Is that George Washington? Is that Abraham Lincoln? Is that Teddy Roosevelt? Is that Thomas Jefferson? No, it's a mountain with human beings' faces on it, put there by people that believe in their country and their money and denies the truth of Jesus Christ. And that's a giant statue of Jesus Christ for money in 2027 for women to kick the ball at the back of the net for marketing. Shit. You explain it and explain it and explain it so it's entertaining and fun. And instead of agree and go, yeah, you're making sense, that's right, they argue with you and they argue with you until you're so arrogant, you're so pompous, you think you're all that. And she tells me, I sit there with Patrice and I go, Patrice, okay, both our lives have been surveyed on those devices even more extensively than any other family in the world. Both our lives have been surveyed from the time we're born till now. And I'm a better person than you. You're a terrible person. Okay. And you believe that's the truth, right? Okay. Well, then maybe it is a good thing that our taxpayer dollars paid for quantum computing so we all have the evidence of our lives so we don't have to live the crimes of our lives that we tell ourselves are real and we still believe. And our goddess will save us all, right? And kill all the human beings that we don't like, right? She keeps telling me how much more sane she is than all my family that thinks Jesus is their God and going to kill everybody they don't like. And she tells me the same damn thing. My goddess is going to clean it all up and kill them all and get rid of them all. And we won't be tortured by them anymore. Okay, but we'll all be dead. Yeah, but at least my goddess will have the final say-so. Final say-so and kill everybody you don't like. Right. So the planet's going to kill everybody you don't like because you hate living here. Right. You sound just as crazy as the Christians that turned Jesus into their killer God from outer space, right? Shit. Okay, and then you tell her, no, I believe God's omniscient, omnipotent, and Jesus is the faithful Father to give us faith in God, so we don't have to have Caesar give us a palace where we have tossed salad and scrambled eggs for money, and then film it. And you'll become a star. And you'll sell Skims or whatever, Come on, guys, really? All the uncomfortable situations I got put in that were compromising sexually and stuff like that. I mean, you look at them, it's like, they said that in Sierra Vista. It's like, that's it? That was your worst day? Yeah. That's it. Yeah. That's it. Right. That's your worst day. You know how many people mass murder on a daily basis? to try to make sure that none of you guys see my worst day in surveillance to say, okay, this guy's the worst person on the world that's going to get us all killed because he's an idealist and what he believes in is unreasonable? Right. Anything bad he gets put in by a bunch of scientists that are jealous of him, he can navigate through just by asking Jesus for help. Right. Isn't that cool? Don't you think it's cool? Well, he's the guy like most Jesus, so I'm cheating on the test, right? There is no test. Just live the Lord's Prayer. Get out of the house. Get out of the domicile. Soft surveillance, we're gonna need it for a while. It's gonna have to do for now because there's too many brain damaged people that are used to doing whatever they want to do because they have the freedom to do it, because they invented the laws to do it. Okay, you can't make laws. Gravity and photosynthesis are laws. Writing on a piece of paper that money's real and you can put a camera in people's domiciles to abuse them over it, that's not a law. That's an invention and you're crazy. And you can make that shit up, but you can think you believe in it, but you can't believe in it because it's not a law. So just because you say the unicorn is real, you can't have babies with it. Okay, do you understand? And I told that to her and she's still, you're just being an ass. I'm not being an ass. I'm trying to explain to you. Do you understand the words that are coming out of your mouth and then coming out of mine? Okay, that everything you're saying is incoherent. Everything I'm saying is coherent. And you keep telling me, stop being an asshole and stop trying to get people to listen to you and agree with you. But you want me to listen to you and agree with you. Right. Because you're truthful and honest and a good person and I'm a liar and an asshole. Oh, shit. I don't have to meet Teresa's biological father. I've lived with him for since July 21st, 1970. He bit me in the back when he was burning my Cowboys and Indians on the heater when I was 3 years old. And so when she was 3 years old and she was 3 years old and I was 7, I said, no, Teresa, you can't do that. It's not healthy. It's not good. And those are my Cowboys and Indians. And I took him and gave him from her, and she got so mad she bit a hole in my favorite shirt and bit a hole in my back. Okay, she's done stuff like that to me my whole life. Okay, and then she comes up with like 3 things that happened that I did wrong, and you're the biggest asshole and jerk. It's like, I understand we're in a difficult situation, and I stopped it and I apologized. Right? You have never once apologized to me. But you were 3. I didn't, but you're still that same 3-year-old biting a hole in my back because I took my Cowboys and Indians away because you were mad because you wanted to melt them on the small space heater. And that's just crazy. That could start a fire and make us all sick. It's burning plastic. It's, oh gosh. When you see people have trouble understanding you and think they're better than you and you're right and you're wrong and you're an egomaniac, you have to consider the source and then explain the situation to them, and it's recorded by her cell phone and her laptop because I don't carry my phone with me. But I tell you this, I will not talk behind your back. Okay? You talk to me, I will tell everybody what we talked about, and I will tell everybody. Okay, you cannot lie to God. Okay, so why should I lie to you for money, right? Okay. There ain't no hiding place from the truth of creation, right? Well, that was a drag. You people at NASA are really annoying. Is this to fix the stuff? You can't? I don't know what's wrong with these people. We'll talk about it later. Okay, guys, I love you. Peace out.